Okay, so in my last video, I covered the brief history of the shoegaze band LSD and the Search for God. And in this video, I'm going to cover the history of the underground melodic / hardcore band, Strictly Ballroom. Chances are you have not heard of this band, so stay tuned. They're an amazing band and definitely deserve more appreciation. Strictly Ballroom is a melodic / ambient hardcore band that was founded in 1994 by former KXLU DJs Chris Gunst and Jimmy Tamborello. And basically KXLU is an FM radio station that is broadcasted from the Westchester campus of Loyola Marymount University. So these two artists met there. The original 5 members of the band were Chris Gunst on guitar / vocals, Jimmy Tamborello on bass and vocals, second guitarist Paul Larson, drummer Ian McKinnon, and Jimmy Hay on keyboard. I actually managed to find an interview that Chris, Jimmy, and some of the other band members spoke on. It was done in 2013 by Ghetto Blaster magazine, which is after the band split, and one of the questions they were asked is what started the band, and Jimmy Tamborello responds saying, "Chris and I met in college and became close friends really quickly and bonded over music. We were both involved in the radio station at the school and were going to shows all the time, so it made sense to start playing music together." And Chris Gunst replies, "A lot of our early friendships was based on being music DJs at KXLU, going to shows, listening to music, and it seems just to extend from that. Wanting to be part of the shows we were going to, being involved. For me personally, it felt good just to play with other people in a room, even if it was just our dorm at first." The band would then go on from there to release their first EP that was self-titled under Choo Choo Records, with 4 tracks titled in order Risk, Autobiography, Other Stars, and Tearjerker. This album definitely has more of their hardcore stuff, which makes sense because they were just starting off and taking in a lot of inspiration from other hardcore bands they were seeing at the time, and they didn't really find their unique style yet, which would come later in their career. My personal favorite track on the album is Other Stars. Their next EP would come out in 1996 titled 7 Inches and would have 3 tracks titled in order I Love ... New Angels, and Elevator Action. In this album, we can see the band experimenting with a more melodic sound, giving it a more emo than hardcore feeling. Finally, in 1997, the band would release their first ever album titled Hide Here Forever under Waxploitation Records with 8 tracks in total. This album would be one of the band's greatest successes and would give the band the term Eno-core by fans due to their similar ambient sound of famous artist Brian Eno, and combining that with the sound of hardcore, so then you get Eno-core. This can especially be heard at the end of the last track, A Sudden Interest in Nature, with all the weird ambient sounds. This album would be a hit for college radios and even get on the CMJ charts. CMJ during this time was a very popular monthly music magazine, so getting on the top 75 albums was a huge deal. The band would follow this album up with a tour and actually get the chance to open up for one of the popular bands, Modest Mouse. They opened up for them on May 22nd, 1998 at Hollywood Athletic Club in Los Angeles, California. The band would consider this moment one of their proudest accomplishments, at least according to Jimmy Tamborello. He states, "I thought we had some triumphant live shows at our peak. Especially I remember a few openings for Modest Mouse where it felt like we were doing something exciting." This set they played is one of the only recorded live shows they have, at least uploaded on YouTube, so if you're interested to see them live, I'll link the video in the description. And after the release of their album Hide Here Forever and their tour, the band would seem to have a falling out, as a few band members joined other groups, for example Chris Gunst going to Beachwood Sparks and Jimmy Tamborello going to Figurine. It wouldn't be until their debut was reissued under Better Looking Records. All 5 original band members would be reunited under a new name of Arca. Jimmy Tamborello states, "We went through a lot of phases. Near the end, it turned into a band called Arca, but at this point, we were maybe just getting more interested in other projects. I don't really remember when or how we decided to quit." And Chris Gunst states, "Just got into doing different stuff. We were all still friends and it didn't end because of disagreements or anything. It just kinda evaporated. I wish it didn't." And after doing some research, I managed to find a video on YouTube of the band live when they made the switch to Arca. and it was at Spaceland venue on April 21st, 2000, and they're opening up for the Death Cab for Cutie band. Sadly, none of these new songs they performed live under Arca were able to get recorded, but it is still cool to know that they're out there and you can listen to it. I'll link it in the description. This live show and the song called Don't Go Home is the only documentation I could find of this new band they formed. But like Jimmy stated, once they got into this point in their career, everyone was just interested in doing other projects. In 2001, their song titled Fire and Fire Remix, which was recorded in '97, would be released under Sub Pop Records, which was a kind of random release because I'm pretty sure by this time Arca was split. But what really makes this band even more interesting is the fact that a lot of the band members, after splitting up, ended up becoming very successful in other bands. Jimmy Tamborello went to DNTEL, Figurine, and the Postal Service. Chris Gunst played in Beechwood Sparks, Mystic Chords of Memory, and The Tide. Paul Larson contributed with Athalia, The Minor Canon, and The Georgia Sand. And Jimmy Hay took part in Beechwood Sparks, Ariel Pink's Haunted Graffiti, All Night Radio, Indian Jewelry, and The Rapture, and more. More than a decade later was when the band would be heard from again through the release of their compilation of collected recordings from 1994 to 1999, being released on vinyl and on streaming platforms like Spotify and Apple Music under Tenderness Records. On this compilation, it has all their previous songs from their initial EPs, singles, and Hide Here Forever album, along with some unreleased and live versions of other songs. In terms of a reunion for the band, Ghetto Blaster interview asked them what are the chances of a strictly ballroom tour or reunion date, and the members responded, "I think there might be a reunion, but it'll just be for us in a practice space where we try to remember our parts and mostly play joke songs. I hope at least. We've talked about it, but I'd be shocked if we ever got it together enough to play in front of other people," states Jimmy Tamborello. And Chris Gunst states, "I think we will make music together again because you only have so many relationships in this life that can birth creativity. I'm not sure if it will be a SB reunion, but maybe something new, but I'm all for playing together again in a room and laughing." Paul Larson states, "Chris, Ian, and Jimmy are some of the best people/musicians I know. I would jump at the opportunities to play with them again." And Ian McKinnon states, "Yeah, I'm in an agreement with what everyone else said." So yeah, in terms of chances of a reunion, after hearing what the band had to say, I should be hopeful, but considering that the interview was done in 2013 and it is now 2022 and there hasn't been much heard from the band except a few posts on their Facebook, I feel as though there is a pretty slim chance of a reunion, but hey, it doesn't hurt to stay hopeful.